Anfield had all the ingredients of a proper Champions League night: rain in the air, tension in the stands, history hanging over the game, and that feeling that something huge might still happen. Liverpool came in carrying the weight of the first leg defeat and the emotional obligation to prove they were still alive in the tie. PSG, on the other hand, arrived like a side that already understood the rhythm of nights like that. They did not come to survive. They came to manage the occasion. And before we get into the football itself, subscribe to the channel. Because the point here is not to scream about the scoreline. The point is to understand why the match unfolded the way it did. PSG's 2-0 win says a lot, but it does not say everything. Because this was not a match where Liverpool were simply blown away from the first minute to the last, but it was still worse than a competitive defeat for them. Why? Because they had moments where they could have brought the tie back to life, yet never truly looked in control of it. And in the Champions League, that cost you badly. Liverpool's initial idea was obvious. They wanted to play with more courage than in the first leg, raise the tempo, attack earlier, and turn Anfield into an actual factor in the tie. For spells, you could see it. They tried to use the width better, looked for crosses, pushed the full-backs on, and tried to get bodies into the box. But attacking more is not the same as attacking better. Liverpool were more aggressive than they had been in Paris, but they still lacked the clarity a comeback of this size demands. PSG, by contrast, played with real maturity. No panic, no drama, no emotional overreaction to the setting. When they needed to slow the game down, they slowed it down. When they needed to accelerate, they did. When they had to absorb pressure, they absorbed it. And on a European night away from home, that matters almost as much as pure talent. Because having good players is one thing. Knowing how to emotionally navigate a match like this is another. PSG did both. In the first half, Liverpool did at least try to show more intent. But intent alone is cheap if it does not become a sustained threat. They moved the ball, tried to force play down the channels, tried to generate momentum. But there was a clear difference between possession with purpose and possession with direction. Liverpool had some energy. PSG had the clearer map. The left side of PSG's attack, with Kvaratskhelia drifting and driving at the space around Frimpong, already looked like a source of discomfort. And it was. The Georgian did not need to dominate every touch to shape the match. He just had to receive in the right moments to force Liverpool backwards. That is a key distinction. Liverpool had more emotional energy, but PSG had better territorial precision. Those are not the same thing. Liverpool could push the game forward and burst, but PSG arrived in the final third with more composure, more timing, and more calm in the decisive pass. Liverpool played from urgency. PSG played from conviction. Salah's introduction, forced by Ekitike's injury, changed Liverpool's attacking behavior almost immediately, and that opens the door to a serious criticism of Arne Slot. In a game of this magnitude, leaving your most decisive attacker out from the start makes very little sense. That is not tactical bravery. That is needless risk dressed up as cleverness. The moment Salah came on, Liverpool carried more real threat out wide, the delivery improved, and the sense of danger increased straight away. His very first involvement nearly produced a huge moment. So let's not overcomplicate this. Slot got that call wrong, but it would also be lazy to pin everything on the starting 11, because the second half revealed a bigger issue. Liverpool pushed harder, had more shots, saw more of the ball, spent longer around the PSG box, but too often it was the sort of dominance that makes noise, without actually dismantling the opponent. Possession can lie to you if you let it. Liverpool got into advanced areas, but they did not consistently disorganize PSG. They had more touches, more momentum, more crowd energy, more territory, but the actual level of control did not rise at the same rate. PSG understood that perfectly. They realized they did not need to play Liverpool's emotional game. They just had to survive the pressure spells, keep the rest defense stable enough, and wait for the moment Liverpool overexposed themselves. That is exactly what happened. They defended their box well. Safanov came up with key interventions, and Mark Winhos delivered the sort of performance captains are remembered for in European ties. When the match demanded composure, PSG had it. When it demanded emotional discipline, PSG had that too. Liverpool did raise the temperature after the break. They shot more, got more bodies into the box, had far more attacking touches, and did put PSG under genuine pressure for stretches. But here is the hard truth. Increasing the volume means nothing if the quality of the decision-making stays inconsistent. There were forced crosses, rushed action, hopeful shots from distance, and moments where anxiety took over from structure. European knockout football punishes exactly that. You cannot play 20 minutes as if every action has to be the dramatic turning point of the night. Once you do that, your shape starts to disappear. And Liverpool, at several moments, played on impulse rather than on organization. The first goal sums up the difference between the two sides. Dembele finished after a pass from Kvaratskhelia, and PSG did not need a wave of pressure to hurt Liverpool. They needed clarity. One clean action in the right zone with the right players at the right moment. The second goal, with Barcolt setting up Dembele late on, was the natural punishment for a Liverpool side that had become emotionally exposed and structurally stretched by desperation. Individually, Dembele was decisive not only because of the goals, but because he remained a live threat throughout. Kvaratskhelia was the quiet destabilizer, constantly creating tension. Vitinha and João Neves helped PSG keep their emotional and tactical balance. And Mark Winhos gave one of those performances that may not dominate highlight packages, but absolutely wins knockout ties. For Liverpool, Salah improved the attack when he came on, and Szoboszlai added volume and energy, but the side still lacked someone capable of turning pressure into sustained positional superiority with real consistency. And on the manager, there is no point softening it. If Liverpool improved defensively in the second half, that happened more because of urgency and individual quality than because of some great structural solution from Slot. The team got louder, more aggressive, more frantic, more emotional, but they did not find a genuinely elegant tactical answer to break PSG down. And when you are up against a mature European side that is organized and comfortable without the ball for stretches, emotion on its own is never enough. In the end, this match revealed two important truths. First, PSG looked like a side properly built for the Champions League, not just technically strong, but competitively mature. Second, Liverpool still have the crowd, the history, the atmosphere, and the capacity to create pressure. But right now they look more driven by impulse than by clarity. And in this competition, that is a serious limitation. PSG go through because they were calmer, sharper, and more adult in the decisive moments. Liverpool go out because they tried to set the night on fire, but never really showed they could control the flames. And in the Champions League, it is not enough to move the stadium emotionally. You have to control the match when the emotion starts begging for chaos. So let me ask you this. Does this elimination fall more on the players, or more on Arne Slot's reading of the game and the decisions he made?